Before we get into the episode, I am thrilled to announce that the EntreMD Business School is open for enrollment. The EntreMD Business School is the only school of its kind for physicians who want to build 6, 7, and multiple 7-figure businesses. Over the last 2 years, we have had hundreds of doctors go through the school with unbelievable results. Some of them run brands, some of them run private practices, some of them are coaches, some have other kinds of service-based businesses or product-based businesses. And we've had people come in and cross the 6-figure milestone, cross the 7-figure milestone, cross the multiple 7-figure milestone. You will be in a place where you'll get the coaching, the community, the accountability that you need to thrive as an entrepreneur, especially in the times that we're in. So maybe you've been following me for a while. Maybe you've been getting so much out of the EntreMD podcast and you've been wondering, how can I work with Dr. Una and the community more? Well, this is your chance. Come join us in the EntreMD Business School. It is application only. So go to entremd.com/business to turn in your application. I cannot tell you how many doctors have made statements like this. I recovered my investment in the first week. I recovered my investment in my bank account in the first 90 days. This is the best investment I've made in myself ever. I want you to have that kind of story, not just a story of building a great business that serves a lot and earns a lot, but having a business that gives you the freedom to live life on your terms. So don't wait any longer. entremd.com/business. And now for the episode. Hi, docs. Welcome to the EntreMD Podcast, where it is all about helping amazing physicians just like you embrace entrepreneurship so you can have the freedom to live life and practice medicine on your terms. I'm your host, Dr. Una. Welcome back to another episode of the EntreMD Podcast. I am so excited that you're here. And I want to say thank you, as always, for listening, for sharing, for reviewing. And I would like to give a shout out to one of our reviewers on iTunes. So this is The Encouraging Doc. She says, every doctor needs to hear this, ! I enjoy learning from Dr. Una. I followed her on Instagram a while ago, but decided to download her podcast during a long drive today. I learned how normal it is to feel fear, but that it's important to take action anyway. I am so elated I found her. I recommend to all attending physicians who want to go to the next level, whether intrapreneurs or extrapreneurs. Thank you, Dr. Lum from the IMG Roadmap podcast. So thank you so much, Encouraging Doc, for sharing this review. And I am so excited that you've decided that action is now your thing, because I believe it is the ultimate antidote to fear. It is the ultimate antidote to not getting the results you want in business. So action, action, action. I totally love it. So today we're going to be looking at something that I think all the introverts will enjoy and the extroverts as well, because this is strategic, but it's how to network like a pro, especially if you're an introvert. So if you're an introvert, I got you. We're going to have a great time learning some stuff today. Okay. Now, before we get into the gist of it, our tickets for EntreMD Live are available. It is going to sell out. So this is our Business of Medicine event. I believe it's the ultimate Business of Medicine event. And you are going to have an experience that is kind of like, this podcast plus private coaching plus group coaching plus networking plus all of that, like in one melting pot. It is such an amazing experience. So I want you to get your tickets, entremd.com, get your tickets today. And I look forward to seeing you in Atlanta, June the 13th, 2020. So back to our networking. Now, this is the way I used to network. I talk about it all the time about, being an introvert. I'm still an introvert. I just don't hang on to it as an excuse anymore. But in the beginning, when I went for any kind of event, I had a strategy. And this was my strategy. So there are lots of people in the room. I walk in, I walk to the back of the room, to which all the introverts are probably smiling because that's what they do too. I walk to the back of the room and I'm just standing there by myself. But then I realized, wait, if I'm standing here by myself, someone's going to feel like, I really need to come talk with her and keep her engaged and stuff like that. So I will find one person, just one person, and I'm kind of talking with them or hanging around them. so that way nobody feels like they have to come talk to me, right? And then once I've stayed there for an amount of time that is socially acceptable, off I go. I'm out. So I'm not talking to people. I'm not trying to meet new people. I'm not exchanging information. I'm not doing any of that. And I don't live my life by having regrets, but if I were to go back, that is one of the things I would have dropped that habit like so fast, because networking is so powerful. It can literally change your life. It puts you in rooms you don't deserve to be in. It puts you in situations you don't deserve to be in. It gives you access to deals you don't deserve to know about. Like, think about it, right? You guys know I like using a lot of basketball stories and analogies, but the story of how Shaq got to invest in some of his big companies. So Shaq goes to, I think he's a Four Seasons or so, and he's in the lobby. And there's this other guy who's in a meeting, but his kid is in the lobby. And Shaq just like, he's a funny guy. So he starts playing with this kid. And he keeps the kid entertained the whole time. And dad comes out of a meeting. And he's like, wow, you like kids. You're really good with kids. And Shaq is, being himself. And he says, well, I like you. So I want to bring you into a room. There's this company we're trying to invest in. This is in the 90s, right? So there's this company we're trying to invest in. A time is coming where you're going to be able to find things on your phone and stuff like that. And the name of the company is Google. So think about it. Playing with a kid, networking with a kid, gave him access to Google. Now, Shaq never said how much he made from that deal, but he said it was a lot of money. Now, if someone who earns $30 million a year says, I had a deal and I made a lot of money, it was a lot of money. Okay. So the point is, networking is insane what it can do for you. Okay. So we're going to be talking about how to do that today. And by the way, I talk about Shaq so much. If any of you know him, connect us. Okay. All right. So you should be networking everywhere you go. You should be networking everywhere where your clients, potential clients, people who can refer clients to you, everywhere they are, you need to be networking there. Think about conferences, okay? When I went to conferences, I went for the content. Like, what are they going to teach me? What new thing am I going to find out? And stuff like that. But I don't attend conferences that way anymore. 50% of it is your content, for sure. But the other 50% is networking. What new person do I need in my circle? What new person do I need in my tribe? This is where I'm trying to go. Who are the people I need in my life to help me get there? I make those connections at events. Like, I literally set goals for how many people I want to meet, what kind of people I need to meet. If there's an attendee thing already, I'm like, oh, that person, I don't know them, they don't know me, but we need to know each other, right? It's 50% content, it's 50% networking. In fact, for all the events that I put on to foster that, there are networking breaks all through. And what I do is I literally, we take the time, but I will still walk the room and facilitate networking, because I look for introverts like I used to be. I know where they are. They're at the back of the room. They're either not talking to anybody or they've hung on to one person for 30 minutes because they don't want to have to deal with anybody else. So we facilitate these things, but it's so powerful. All right. So the way you want to start thinking, because, no matter what I tell you, you're still going to go like, oh my gosh, but that's nerve wracking. It's networking. And I want you to kind of think above that. Okay. So the biggest problem of your business, well, aside from you, right? Because once we get better, our business gets better. So other than those internal problems, the biggest problem your business has is obscurity. There are people who love you. There are people who would love your services and they're willing to pay for it, but they just don't know you exist. They have no idea. And the fix for that is getting attention. So when you go to an event where your clients are, potential clients are, people who would refer people to you are, your job is to get attention. And I don't mean in a diva kind of way, right? Like, that's not what I mean, but they don't know you exist. They have a problem you fix, but they don't know you exist. You need to fix that problem, okay? And think about it. Your service is amazing. So it's literally a disservice if you don't tell people that you're there, right? Like, I think about the work that I do. I've had people who've wanted to start business for years. They come into one of our programs and they get their business off the ground. Or I have people who had been terrified of stages and now they're rocking stages. I've had people who didn't realize that what they had could be profitable. So they have a business that they kind of like, it's just for some side money here and there, that kind of thing. And we've helped them build it to six figures. And I know that there are hundreds and thousands and tens of thousands of doctors just like that. So it is my obligation to let them know that I exist and I can help you, right? So you really want to be coming from a place of service, a place of adding value when you go for networking events, so you don't feel like a fraud, right? Because you're not just doing this for yourself, you're doing this to help people, right? Remember, we're doctors, we're helpers. At our core, we're helpers. It's just that in business, when you help, you get rewarded financially for it, right? So you want to be coming from that aspect. I can help. There could be something I say, or maybe I introduce you to my podcast and it'll help. Or maybe, there's a story I share with you that sparks something. Whatever it is, you're there to help. So you have to network. You owe it to people to network. Okay. All right. So having said that, let me walk you through a really simple process for networking. Of course, after you do this, there's more advanced ways of doing this, but this is like, quick and dirty, something you can learn and you can apply the next time you're at an event. And I know some of you are like, well, I don't go for networking events. Anytime you go somewhere and there's more than one person in a room, that's an event. Let's just put it that way, okay? When you're with a group of people, so this is whether you're going for a conference, it doesn't have to be called a networking event, right? But you're going to need to network, okay? Now, before I go into the how-to, let me just throw this out here because I don't want you to miss this. Your network is your net worth, okay? The people in your life, they determine how rich your life will be, the experiences you have, and all of that stuff. If you're like, I'm tired of my current state, if you will change your network, it will change everything. So you owe it to yourself. I already told you owe it to your clients, but you owe it to yourself to be someone who networks, who's building a tribe, who's bringing richer relationships into their lives. And when I say richer, I don't mean money per se. I mean people who have different kinds of exposures or people who can put you in different situations, open different doors for you, those kind of people. You want to get those kind of people into your life. So you must network. And the scary thing about people is that you don't know who's who. That's the thing, I mean, Obama had a teacher. Who knows? Maybe that teacher was mean to him. Didn't know that would be the president someday. You know what I'm saying? Like, I literally had people that I'm like, I'm so glad these people are in my life. I know they have a business and I can help their business be so much better, but they didn't realize that. So they wasted the opportunity and sabotaged the relationship, not realizing that literally they lost hundreds of thousands of dollars by doing that. You don't know who's who, So anyway, back to networking. So I'm going to give you like a framework. It's like 5 steps, right? 5 steps to becoming a pro at networking. How about that, right? Okay, so the very first thing, and you're going to do this no matter how you feel, okay? We're EntreMDs. The first thing is you got to walk up to people. I mean, you go like, really, Dr. Una, that's the best thing you could come up with. But no, yeah. I mean, like the typical introvert is staying at the back of the room, waiting for people to come. And that's not typically the way that works. You're the networker, you're the pro. So walk up to people, look at people and walk up to them. And as you're doing it, it's okay to feel scared. It's okay to feel like I'm not really good at this. Maybe this is messy, blah, blah, blah. It's fine. But you need to walk up to people. Okay. So that needs to become your new thing. You walk into a room, you walk up to people. That's what you do. Now, the second thing, when you walk up to people, give them a big smile, ching, and a firm handshake. Okay. Now, you can do this scared. It doesn't matter. And people won't know except you tell them. Okay. So walk into a room, walk up to people, big smile, firm handshake, and then introduce yourself. Okay. And so far, there's nothing I've said that's complicated, but the truth of the matter is most people won't do that, okay? Except you. If you didn't do it before, now you're going to start doing it. So you walk up to people, big smile, firm handshake, introduce yourself, all right? The third thing, which is critical, because this is where if it's not done right, then it becomes sleazy, right? The next thing you want to do is you want to tune into their channel. Every human being is tuned into a channel called WIIFM. What's in it for me? Most people have themselves on their mind all the time. So when you walk up to somebody and you initiate a conversation, tune into their channel. Hey, nice to see you here. What do you do? What are you hoping to get out of this conference? I see you're a speaker. What are you going to be speaking about? What kind of business do you have? Tell me more about that. People love to talk about themselves. They do. Okay. So the sleazy version is you walk up to somebody, big smile, firm handshake, and you say, hi, my name is Dr. Una. I'm a business coach. I would really like to work with you. Now that is sleazy. That is awful. You don't even know if they have a business. That's like being a doctor, walking into a room, saying, hi, my name is, Dr. Smith. I'm an ENT doc, and I'm going to take your tonsils out when you don't even know why they're there. Okay. That is so ridiculous. Okay. So I want you to think of this as a doctor. Pretend you're taking an HPI, you're taking a history. Okay. Don't. So when you start talking to them, tune into their channel. Nice to see you here. What kind of business do you have? I see you're a speaker. What are you speaking about? Has this conference made a difference for you? Is this your first time at this conference? Ask people questions about themselves. Tune into their channel. Okay. All right. The fourth thing you want to do is after you've done all this engagement, right? You've established I'm here, I'm confident, I like meeting with people, I care about you. And this is not in a fake way, right? This needs to be genuine, but I care about you. And then the next thing is networking is a two-way street. So you got to let people know what you do. You don't start with that. And it's not the bulk of the conversation, but you need to let people know what you do. Okay. So I'm at a networking event, I get there, and I walk up to somebody, big smile, firm handshake. Hey, my name is Dr. Una. Nice to meet you. Tells me what his name is. And I'm like, wow, that's an interesting name. Where is it from? Now, I'm not judging. Look at the consonants in my name. And he's like, yeah, my name is originally from Russia. Oh, that's great. And then they're like, my grandfather moved from Russia and all of this stuff. And that's awesome. So why you at this conference? What are you hoping it would do for your business? And they, talk about their business and this and that and that. And we've had conversation, right? And, whatever the person says will kind of direct the way it goes. And I would still go on to say, well, I'm excited to be here too. I'm a business coach. I work with physician entrepreneurs. I help them build profitable businesses so they can live life and practice medicine on their own terms. That is so interesting. I have a sister who's a doctor. I've been telling her to start a business. She won't listen to me. Oh, wow. Well, hey, connect us. That would be great. I'd love to talk to her, and stuff like that. So you want to do that. Okay. So you want to tell them what you do. Okay. You want to do that. And then the fifth thing is you want to exchange information somehow so that there's opportunity to follow up. Because typically in a conference, you're not having time for, like a 30-minute conversation or even a 15-minute conversation. But if you guys exchange phone numbers or exchange on LinkedIn or whatever, so that you can say, hey, Dr. Una here. So glad I got to meet you. Looking forward to when we can have coffee or we can have a 15-minute chat or, whatever. But you want to have some kind of way to follow up because you may have heard this. All the money's in the follow-up. You need to be following up. So that's kind of a framework. So number one, walk up to people. Number two, firm handshake, big smile, introduce yourself. Number three, tune into their channel. Number four, make sure you're telling them what you do. Don't leave that out. And number five, connect tangibly. You have to exchange something so that there's that opportunity to follow up. And even with your tune in, you also want to do things like, if someone tells you about their business, ask them, so what would be a good referral for you? Like, what kind of person would I meet? And it would be right for me to connect both of you. And you're not doing that to be fake or to make an impression so you can get business done. But the thing is, the more you build other people's businesses, the more your business grows. It's just the way it is. And even if that person doesn't give you referrals, someone will. That's just the way that works. So you want to do things like that. There's nothing I've said that is so complicated that you're like, that's why I don't network, because I just can't do that. It's simple. It doesn't mean it's easy, especially if you're introvert, but it's simple. And the more you do it, the more you enjoy doing it. The more you do it, the more you get used to it. And I do this as an introvert. In fact, I was in a meeting, I want to say it was 3 weeks ago, and I literally connected with at least 50 doctors in one meeting. And this is the person who would just stay at the back of the door and not do anything. We're talking contact information, some of them subscribing to my podcast. Some of them, I even talked to them to be guests on my podcast. Some of them I've already done their interviews. You get to hear them a little later, and did all of that in one event. So you can do this and it will make your life so much richer. I mean, like so much richer. Okay. So this is what I'm leaving you with today. I want you to start practicing today. You might go like, woof, I'm off the hook because I don't have an event today. Yeah, but you have work and you're going places. I want you to practice. Practice introducing yourself to people, engaging in conversation. Practice it, but start today. Okay? Don't ever go for another event and not get more out of the event than the content. The pros do not attend events to just get content. They go for the content, they go for the networking, they go to build new relationships. So I want you to start doing that today. Now, if you haven't gotten your tickets for EntreMD Live, I want you to get your tickets today. It's entremd.com. You can get your tickets today. And when you come, I want you to plan to network. We're going to show you how, we're going to facilitate it, but you're going to be in a room with other physician entrepreneurs who, like you, are either trying to start or scale a business, who are getting out of their comfort zone, who are like, we're going to make it bigger and we're going to create careers that we truly enjoy. I mean, you know that I think entrepreneurship is the fix for burnout. But anyway, but get your tickets today. Plan to network. Thank you so much for joining me on this episode of the EntreMD Podcast. Make sure to stay in touch. We're going to have brand new episodes every week. We're going to keep you motivated, inspired, and empowered to build businesses that will give you the freedom to live life the way you want to. All righty. So I'll see you next week. Get your tickets. If you love this podcast, please take a moment to subscribe, share, and review it on iTunes. As you go about your week, remember, you're not just an MD, you're an EntreMD. Don't forget to tune in next week for another great episode. Until next time.